Thank you, and thank you, Senator Duckworth. I think the distinguished ranking member has a follow-up question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lohmeyer, earlier this year, it came to my attention that current serving military personnel have been receiving emails threatening them with being fired for supporting the current DOD policies. One email that was sent to a military officer with the subject line, "Clean House," states, quote, "With the incoming administration looking to remove disloyal, corrupt, traitorous liberal officers such as yourself, we will certainly be putting your name in onto the list of those personnel to be removed. We know you support the woke DEI policies and will ensure you never again influence anyone in the future. You and the redacted spouse's name will be lucky if you're able to correct your military retirement," end of quote. Mr. Lohmeyer, if you became aware of someone sending threatening emails to currently serving officers, what would you do in your capacity?
Welcome back to Right View Nation, where we cut through the noise, challenge the narrative, and bring you the unfiltered truth from the people for the people. If you love this country, stand for the Constitution, and believe that patriotism isn't a crime, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and smash the bell so you don't miss a single drop of truth. Today's video, folks, is a doozy. We're reacting to a heated Senate exchange involving a top military nominee from the Trump camp. And let me tell you, the establishment does not like what this man stands for. Why? Because he refuses to bend the knee to political correctness, and he's unapologetically pro-America. Let's break it all down.
Well, Senator, I think the way in which leaders go about communicating with their troops matters a great deal. Having been in command, there's no way to retain the respect of your troops if you don't communicate respectfully to men and women of every background. I don't particularly appreciate the tone in which that email was written. I don't know who wrote it. I'm not familiar with the background of that email. But I will say once again that I share this committee's commitment to an apolitical military. I don't believe witch hunts are healthy in the military. I think that unity is our strength. I believe that when we start to go down the path of discussing partisan politics and ideology, it divides men and women. That's why the American people tend to be so divided. They have a full range of expression of these ideas. Our uniform wearers, to Senator Duckworth's point, ought to be focused on their mission and not being caught up in this kind of rhetoric. But if these kinds of things came to my attention, then of course they deserve attention. And every man and woman in uniform deserves to be treated with respect.
Do you believe it would be disqualifying for someone on active service in the military as an officer listed or civilian if they sent such an email?
Notionally, I think the context always matters, Senator. And I've expressed that I don't necessarily, I wouldn't write an email with that tone personally. I'll speak for myself. What's qualifying and disqualifying at a very high level is whether or not people are acting ethically and legally, upholding their oath to defend and support the Constitution and following the lawful orders of those that have been appointed over them to lead them. And that's what every enlisted and officer troop across every branch of the military is taught to believe in. It's that, hey, whatever baggage I bring to my service in uniform politically, ideologically, I leave that at the doorstep. I get the same ugly haircut as those next to me. I wear the same uniform, bleed the same color, focus on the same mission, and we care about readiness and lethality.
Well, I too believe that context is important. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the context, particularly your comments since you were left the service, they created an impression of someone committed to, frankly, reprisal, revenge, weeding out from the service those people who do not ascribe to your thoughts. You've said it in so many words in your X filings and in your book. And I find it very difficult that suddenly you will have this transition, this enlightenment that will disabuse you of all those notions and make you someone who you claim today is apolitical, not concerned about the extracurricular activities of people in terms of their political positions, et cetera. That's totally inconsistent with what you've done over the last 4 years, and I think you've made that evident today.
Senator, am I allowed to respond?
Of course, that's the system here.
I'll say briefly that I really do believe, one, I believe that everyone who's been in this hearing understands that I'm authentic and try and be true in what I say. Second, I'll believe that every man and woman that's ever worked with me would be glad to welcome me back into public service.
Does that include the people that you by name threatened to?
I've not by name threatened anybody, Senator.
Well, you certainly indicated your displeasure with lots of people by name.
Well, I'm displeased with the cowardly behavior of many people, but I've never threatened anybody. I think that we have many great men and women in uniform, high and low, who all have the right to try their best to serve this country faithfully, and I don't necessarily agree with all the decisions they make, but I'm not a vindictive person. I love all people, and I think that men and women in uniform will be very grateful to see me come back into service if I'm confirmed.
Well, thank you for your testimony, gentlemen. Mr. Oberbaum, I will have questions for Mr. Oberbaum and Mr. Zinnerman. Thank you very much, sir.
So Senator Jack Reed comes out swinging. He brings up some anonymous email, supposedly threatening liberal military officers with being removed by a future administration. Now let me say this. If anyone out there is making actual threats, they should be dealt with properly. That's not how we do things. But let's be honest about what's really going on here. This isn't about protecting troops. This is about smearing a Trump-aligned military nominee. The left is terrified of any military leader who doesn't worship at the altar of DI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're trying to paint anyone who doesn't embrace their woke agenda as some kind of extremist. That's the tactic: guilt by association, character assassination by speculation. And Mr. Lomar, who will just call the nominee from here on, responded like a true leader. Calm, composed, and focused on mission, unity, and apolitical service. That's what a real commander sounds like. Now, let's get into the meat of the exchange. Senator Reed accuses this man, without direct evidence, of wanting reprisals against people with different political beliefs. Reed even claims the nominee's past writing and statements show a man obsessed with revenge. Excuse me? Since when is holding people accountable for failing the mission the same thing as revenge? Since when is expecting loyalty to the Constitution and readiness over woke training sessions some kind of dangerous ideology? The nominee made it crystal clear. He's never threatened anyone. He doesn't hate people. He disagrees with cowardly behavior. And let's be honest here. We all know there's been a lot of that going around in the Pentagon lately. He said something powerful, and I quote, "Whatever baggage I bring to my service in uniform, politically or ideologically, I leave it at the door. I wear the same uniform, bleed the same color, and care about readiness and lethality." That, my friends, is exactly what we need leading the world's most powerful military. Now let's get real for a second. The military used to be about strength, unity, lethality, discipline. But now, our troops are being lectured about pronouns, climate change, white fragility, and unconscious bias. Recruitment is down, standards are dropping, and morale is in the tank. And what is the left focused on? Purging so-called right-wing extremists, while encouraging political activism in uniform, as long as it's left-wing. This is exactly why this nominee scares them. He knows what a real military looks like. He doesn't care what gender studies major at Harvard thinks. He cares about victory, not virtue signaling. Jack Reed and his ilk are afraid that someone might come in and clean house, not with threats or vengeance, but by restoring order, discipline, and common sense. And guess what? They should be afraid. Let's ask a simple question. Why is a man like this nominee, someone with a lifetime of service, a spotless record, and the support of those who've actually worked under him, being interrogated like a criminal? It's because the political class can't stand the idea of someone who's not theirs holding any real power. They want military leaders who parrot their talking points, push gender ideology, and treat patriotic conservatives like threats. But when someone stands up and says, "I believe in merit. I believe in honor. I believe in America first," suddenly they're dangerous. Well, here's a newsflash for the DC elites. The American people are waking up. We want our military back. We want our country back. This man isn't dangerous. He's a threat to the system. And that's exactly why they're trying to destroy him. In this hearing, Senator Reid acted like he was the moral authority. But ask yourself, who's really betrayed our troops? Was it this nominee? Or was it the politicians who abandoned Americans in Afghanistan, imposed woke social experiments on our military, and undermined faith in the chain of command for the sake of political optics? The answer is clear. If we want a strong, unified, and victorious military, we need leaders who serve the Constitution, not the Democrat donor base. Leaders who believe in mission readiness, not Twitter trends. Leaders who aren't afraid to speak the truth, even when it's unpopular. This nominee, despite the smears, represents a step in the right direction. He may not be perfect, but he's a hell of a lot better than the bureaucrats and career climbers who've turned our military into a social science lab. If you're tired of the political witch hunts, if you believe our military should be feared by our enemies, not paralyzed by leftist ideology, and if you still believe in truth, justice, and the American way, then you've got a home right here at Right View Nation. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with every patriot you know, and let's get this message out. Because we're not backing down. We're not going silent. And we're not going to let this great nation fall to people who hate what it stands for. This is Right View Nation, where the truth still matters and America always comes first. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.